Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, Master Propaganda Hero Strike Defender of the Fatherland. First off, a big thanks to EC Ross for pledging on Patreon and supporting the Propagandacast. Big thanks to you. Buy war bonds. Anyway, so after today's fight here in the south, we got Darkcrow fighting for the Oberkommando West Germany, Deutschland, the 3rd SS Panzerdivision Totenkopf. A top 100 or so Oberkommando West player versus the north, we got the ImperialDane himself fighting against the Soviets, taking on the road here with the 341st Rifle Division with Advanced Warfare Cert Reserve and Guard Rifle versus Darkcrow's gone straight for scammers. We got bullets for infantry, half-jacks and mines, specifically increased build speed, and triple infantry there for Darkcrow. Double conscript start there with a Kugelwagen Volkswagen start here for Darkcrow. Lancaster sees a lot of territory there, pushing aggressively towards the west. A bit of barbed wire here, but to make it harder for me to sort of go for that bit of road cut off there. Sandbags up in case I have to fight around here, in which case I'll have a slight advantage there. And otherwise moving westwards there. Second conscript squad there, done, heading eastwards with another engineer squad here. In this case, my plan is to go for 2 conscript squads and then a special rifle command with a few penal troopers there. I don't go quite full penal troopers there. I like to have some conscript. Then I could, for example, also use the conscripts to merge with them and just sort of have a bit more sort of a flexible force in a sense. Some cheaper infantry put backed up by tougher infantry with a scout car. But moving up the east, going towards the centre here. And we got the first engagement of Steel Parties with engineers, which forced me to quickly move my conscripts towards the west here, as I did not quite expect him to go for that in. Though probably should have. Here in the east, Kuban engaging conscripts there, so several engagements already going on. Folks moving eastwards here. Engineers trying to hold up against the Sturmpioniere, trying to buy time. Conscripts moving in there, and Special Rifle Command going up there back at the base. So a lot going on here in the early moments of the game. Engineers still retreating. Sturmpanzer fight from the conscript just move straight up for the next point to try and harass there. Special Rifle Command almost done there for me, and we got more folks arriving here for Darkcrow. Conscripts moving up here and sneaking up here and trying to just grab the fuel pond there, slightly gaining the Sturmpanzers. Engineers done moving westwards. And engineers then making the way back there from the initial engagement. Conscripts moving towards the west, since this is probably not going to be quite useful. Again, there's probably more bound to happen here. There we go. Getting 1 kill on the Sturmpanzer. Sturmpanzer going to be hiding up behind a few benches. Taking another loss and then pushing in. Conscripts just signing all of a sudden to split up the firepower. Not a good move there. Which allows the Sturmpanzer to get close without taking further casualties. But there you go, engineers around at this point. Things not looking too good. Conscripts then need to retreat and pretty schnell. Scout car on the way there. Decide to go for something with a bit more mobility first. And there you go, conscripts there grab the centre victory point, moving westwards here as well further. Second engineers squad around. Meanwhile here, conscripts or engineers versus Volksgrenadiers. Not getting any fuel in that regard. Darkcrow will have a fuel lead over me here in the early moments of the game, which is certainly rather unfortunate. It's not really the best sort of early engagements there for me, but there you go. More troops coming in, flanking the Volksgrenadiers, and there you go. Finally sent them running. Scout car arriving here as well. Conscripts reinforcing, and we got Volksgrenadiers sneaking about here. Truck arriving there for Darkcrow, either got a mechanized regiment or the battle group headquarters. Engineers to these points, while the conscripts then move ahead there, trying to harass and delay any resources for Darkcrow. Scout coming up and supporting conscripts, got to push towards here, but he's busy grabbing the points right next to my base. Kuban work there for Darkcrow, still no sign of anything there. Could be a battle group headquarters, could be mechanized again. We're not quite clear there as to what Darkcrow is planning, but there goes Scout car in first. I'm not too worried about a Panzerfaust right away, so just sort of rush in as fast as I can there. And then follow up. The conscript could have just popped them in there, but I was a bit too much of a rush initially. Point there secured, and we do get the mechanized regiment here for Darkcrow. Strafnigen arriving here for me in the 341st Rifle Division. Kuban there slightly falling back, grabbing the point here with the conscript inside this car. We cut Fulton inside the small house. And the engineers slightly falling back, grabbing points up north here and securing really some part of the map. Penal troopers almost done. Medical crates done here in the meanwhile to heal his troops, pushing forwards there. Moving up eastwards and moving up westwards here. They're shooting here, troop crossing in the large engagement sort of be about to break up. Sturmpanzer taking man losses, people coming from north, and in this case I decided to move the scout car towards his support as well, bring in as much firepower as I possibly can here versus Darkcrow. Getting a bit too aggressive there, rushing in my scout car, in fact way too close. If it's good actually getting straight within Panzerfaust range. Big mistake there, me being rather rough, rusty lately due to not being able to play enough due to, well, a lack of replays, and I've spent a lot of time searching for some. So that's rather left me myself to sort of get the rust. We've got incendiary grenades going off there. A lot of fire going on. The Sturmpanzer being pushed back. Penal troops are popping up here up close, engaging the Fulskers. They're constantly pushed back. Engineers also retreating and sending it off again. In this case, popping a satchel charge on the Volksgrenadiers, which sends them running. Doesn't get any damage, but wrecks the Kubelwagen, at least denying the wreck for him to salvage, I suppose. But the Penal troops ultimately had to retreat as well. Engineers pushing out there. So some pretty hefty engagements here, but no real sort of gaining terrain from me so far here, because despite that, troops are healing. I mean, well, not healing actually. I haven't got any medics up there. Just reinforcing. And back here, reinforcing what's going on. I got looks on the way there for Darkcrow. And just reinforcement here still. Taking up, in fact, going straight for the tank command. I always believe in just taking up as fast as you can, so you don't forget when you actually, we're supposed to have taken up anyways. So rather just take up while you can if you have the resources, and there's not enough pressure to force you into something else. So at least that way you're prepared to then actually get something when you can. It's a bit of a mistake for some players too. Again, they think, oh well, I don't really need it now, so just wait. No, do it now. Do it now while it's not a problem. Do it now. Again, there's some players are going to just sort of neglect that. But there you go, troops moving ahead here. 3 Volskers, 1 Sturm Pioneer Squad versus 2 conscripts, 2 engineers, and 1 Penal Trooper Squad. In that regard, I do need more infantry here. Engineers engaged there by the Sturm Pioneer, some mines here on the western fuel. A bigger push here, salvaging the scout car. And here now the engagement between conscripts and Volksgrenadiers. And ultimately end up here with reserve army. In case he does go for looks. At this point, I'm slightly wondering if he's going for Battle Group Headquarters. Of course, this confirms he has gone for the mechanized regiment. I mean, you don't get looks out of the Battle Group Headquarters. Meanwhile, Darkcrow there following up with Arcadin. If a mine goes off, they're killing Jürgen and Otto, leaving them quite dead. Still no medics there. I'm just saving up for the T-70 now. Luke's moving ahead here straight for the cut-off point. Grabbing the eastern point as well. Nobody's playing aggressively. He's also laying down a lot of sandbags there, which is a good move by him. In this case, utilising my sandbags. Moving in there for the cut-off point. There's sandbags as well. I just need to counterattack as fast as possible. Got a few submachine guns up. Conscripts engineers here versus Volksgunners in the east. And Arcadin there arriving for Darkcrow, pushing up here. In this case, not working out at all, taking heavy losses because I didn't have any medics, which I should have gone for sooner. Basically, just cost them a lot of manpower. Parts of arriving here, misses the looks there, missed the looks. And looks gets away, but at least doesn't get any closer line, which regain my cut-off point. And of course, there's not much that's actually connected with said cut-off point. Still dug in there. You should probably do a bit more with them than just sit them around there, to be honest. Also, they're holding up in the other house. Conscripts are Penal troops moving towards the fuel point there in the west. Still some time for the T-70. And of course, still have to worry about the looks here, but so far it's keeping it around here in the centre. Another try on the way there for Darkcrow. Could be Battle Group Headquarters, could be Mechanized Regiment. Some players will go for the Mechanized Regiment and then go into Battle Group Headquarters, which further delays any armour for them, giving their opponents more time to get into the game if they sort of had a slightly unfortunate start. But there you go, pushing up close. Assault submachines being handed out to the conscripts. Luke's Magnius was there. 1 hit from the Pantheric so far in the looks. So far, 1 hit. Beyond that, minimal luck. Grabbing the fuel point here. Engineers up there. Penal troops now moving eastwards to support them. The looks actually falls back a bit. He's pounding a bit where we got the tank hunters moving in. And looks like it's going to be a Battle Group Headquarters. Then cancels it because he calls in Jaegers to sort of occupy the house and set up a rather frustrating position for me to have to deal with. Oh, I got the point there. Still some time before we get out the T-70. Got floating up against the conscripts. Moving them in. You need supporting. People just continue to fight here versus the Jaegers. But that's not really engagement that's working out very well for them. Too many Germans here hanging about there. So just need to retreat. I'm just wasting manpower at that point. Conscripts up close with the Volksgrenadiers. The conscripts actually end up losing out there. But do they get the wipe? Nope. In this case, I do get a bit lucky. And no wipe is actually enacted there. But it's going to be hard here for him to defend the fuel point. There we go, forced away. But at least it should allow him to get here the T-70 light tank out to that way. Pressure Darkcrow. The T-70 should certainly give me a bit more oomph here. Looks they're fixed up. For Darkcrow has yet to do anything else. I mean, if we have punted quarters around here, I suppose would be a good spot. Or around here maybe. Either way, grab the fuel point, denying it to him at the very least. Trying to harass him and sort of gain back some momentum there. Troops reinforcing. Getting ready for the next big push for the motherland. Ooh-da. Sandbags up here, low your health unit. But at least this time I managed to cut him off in this fuel as well, so not a complete loss for me this time around. Got the looks moving eastwards here. Engaging the we just need to retreat and need my bigger push towards the western fuel point to regain that. At the same time, T-70 light tank arrives here for a bit of extra firepower for the motherland. And then you need to see it forced to retreat past forces with the assault rifles, and the looks are wiped rather unceremoniously. But bigger push up through the west here. T-70 complement support as well. Again, they're sneaking about there. Catch the folks out in the head with the conscripts, and there go big push for here in the western cemetery into the western half of the map. Looks moving in the T-70 engage the looks. There we go, good hit with that Kednev for there to support. Quick hit there as well, but the infantry just keeps up support here. Pressing against here, and there you go. We got rapid conscription underway, and I'm going to quickly just push through the house here to quickly get close to the looks, but also try and catch the Kednev for this, popping a grenade assault. Getting a hit there on it, and almost got the tank counterparts as they're wiped. Didn't get the looks or the infantry, so push it back, allowing the T-70 to operate a bit more aggressively. Still got the Jaegers there, and we got a spare panzer quarters off around the cut-off point there for Darkcrow, which means his resources here, by the way, are not really protected, which will actually make it easy for me to harass them. I mean, sure, I can't hit the cut-off point, but I won't have to hit the cut-off point if I, can just hit the fuel and the victory point, which is actually overall better for me, since it's connected and steal the fuel, perhaps, and certainly get the victory point. So, I mean, in the end, while it does give him a bit more safety around his own base, it does mean that essentially his safe zone, if you will, is much more narrow. But there you go, folks, pushing back the T-70 light tank. T-70 doing a bit of damage there. And we got some fresh conscripts arriving as well. Moving up the eastern side, there's something machine guns away for them. Folks have been engaged with the T-70. Trying to repair the T-70, but that's not quite working out at all since the folks are quickly closing in too fast. And I imagine there's a Kednev coming in towards the T-70 as well. That's just a quick retreat there. Bigger push here. So already seeing heavy resistance here from the Germans. 3rd SS Panzer Division Totenkopf, which saw many casualties throughout the war due to their rather fanatical nature, and also just, well, due to the severe casualties, they never really gained a lot of veterans, meaning just overall suffered a lot because of that as well. So there's something as well there to keep in mind. And there you go, he actually ends up crashing the Jaegers inside his own house with looks because he drove too close to it. That can still happen, by the way, and you have to care for the summer house again, particularly this one is very much prone to collapsing if you get yourself to it. So he basically wiped his own Jaegers there, which certainly helps me out a bit. Not a huge deal, I mean, it was still a weird spot just to have them in there all of the time. Really, they could have done a lot more for Darkcrow had he just moved them across the map there. So, I mean, overall, they just got punished for being silly. T-70 pull back for repairs. Got a lot of troops that they can do the engineers and the conscripts, and anti-tank grenades on the way. Still no medics for me, but we upped here to now 5 conscripts, 4 conscripts, and a penal trooper squad plus the anti-tank partisans, giving me, well, a lot more infantry than Darkcrow's. Only got 3 Folks Grenadiers and the Storm Pioneers. So that rather gives me a bit of an extra, in particular on the map, overall sort of strategically, well, more on the operational level, I suppose, are just the sort of elements I can push with against Darkcrow. And even he's got the looks, they can't have the looks everywhere as well. So essentially I can pressure Darkcrow more, those now bring up machine guns to sort of help counter that, which is definitely the right idea. T-70 being fixed up, comes there pushing back the Folks from the western fuel point. We got Folks moving up, we got sandbags up to help defend the central victory point, to establish a stronger position there for him to have to bash his head into. And he's also finally gone for the battle group headquarters. Now, I'd definitely call that a mistake because again it just delays him from, getting any sort of armor out there fast from the battle group headquarters. That definitely feels like a mistake there by Darkcrow. I mean, he could also have been pretty fast out with a Panzer IV, in which case I'd have been in a lot of trouble if he'd gone for a Panzer IV. Grabbing the western fuel point there, T-70 setting out. Bouncing up the east here with the Folks Grenadiers. And I was just pushing ahead with conscripts as many places as I can. Again, just trying to overwhelm him. T-70 moving up here. Luke's moving up, we got mines there behind, but this is not quite right. Luke's tearing apart the conscripts there. Heavy auto-cannon fire doing some nasty work. In this case, the Folks got too close, wasn't paying attention. He reacts though pretty fast and damages the engine like T-70. Will probably try and follow up by Kednev, which of course I'm more than aware of. You need to get my Kednev out there, but T-70 out there very fast. Penal troops now with BTRS are suppressed here. Forced to retreat as well. Still got the anti-tank partisan grabbing there, but also seizing the rest of the map, western part of the map there from Darkcrow again. If he's focusing much in the east, I'm going to try and harass him in the west, and that is so far working out quite nicely, ensuring I will actually, have some parity, if not, advantage in resource eventually here versus Darkcrow. I need to quickly get that T-70 fixed up. Conscript units hard at work. Veteran 6 to help deal with the looks, but I'm also, of course, thanks to this, expecting to need your armor, and thus the Veteran 6 will certainly help me out a lot more than, say, the T-70. Of course, rushing into the conscripts, that's not the best idea there by Darkcrow, really. And that ends up being a very vulnerable engagement. Conscripts are sitting up behind the house. In this case, someone decided to stick their fat face outside of the corner there, allowing the rest of the units to get suppressed. That had me slightly annoyed, to put it mildly. Conscious penal troops sitting down there, troops reinforcing. HM6M almost ready there for the 341st Rifle Division. And there go T-Sim striking the Steel Pioneers in the east, taking some damage and gaining victory too. But hits a mine, sadly thus unable to pursue the Steel Pioneers and wipe them. Try and get closer with an anti-tank satchel, but that doesn't quite work out well. Sticky satchel, if you will. And now he calls in the Ostwind. So, despite having the resource to almost go for the Panther 4, he goes straight for the Ostwind. I don't think that's a really good decision there by Darkcrow. I mean, it just sort of feels just like the one you just do because you can, you know, not because it makes sense. You just, you know, it's what you do. I mean, overall, that's what Darkcrow's current strategy feels like. You know, it's what you do as Orbital Commander. Best you go Scavenge, you go for Jaegers, you go for Ostwinds, but it doesn't necessarily always make sense here for Darkcrow. So in that regard, this is sort of the idea if you sort of get too feeling if you sort of get too much of a slave of the meta again. What you do actually doesn't always apply to what goes on the battlefield, meaning he's actually sort of slightly again askew there as to what's, you know, the battlefield conditions, which is certainly to my advantage if he's just playing for that. I mean, certainly has some strengths, but it also means essentially I cannot play him, and again he's just not going to be able to because again he's just such a slave to the meta game. He just, and I think he can't react because it's completely outside of what he knows, because again he just follows the plan blindly, meaning again I can actually predict him and outpace him. So those are some thoughts there. There you go, constantly pushing towards it, counter-attacking the Fultz Grenadiers, more moving in. And finally getting medics by 16-minute mark. Could have had those up faster. Rapid conscription again as I have to get aggressive. Unit there, for some reason, rather split up. I mean, they were stuck there by the battle group headquarters. That's actually where they went. Where I was wondering what was going on there. But there you go, pushing ahead here. Large empty push, Fultz are being engaged. And also harassing here in the east. Anti-tank pumps here versus the looks, damaging the engine. Almost got it there. Shoot, Petrov. Shoot. My name's Gregory. Oh, sorry. We all look alike, you know, with funny hats. It's not funny. It's my dad's hat. He was killed by Stalin's men. Then why are you fighting against the fascists? Well, you know, pays better. Ostman sitting out there. Grabbing points here. A lot of corpses down. But again, also, more conscript to replace them. I mean, rapid conscription is a pretty good ability, since it just gives you more basic infantry, unlike the relief infantry, which only gives you Osttruppen. So in that regard, really, rapid conscription is an amazing ability. Meanwhile, another HM6 had helped deal with medium armor or whatever, in this case the Ostwind Flak Panzer, did get the looks. And of course he's now forced to defend more here and over again, and now got a lot more infantry than him again. He's still basically stuck with 4 infantry squads, whereas we got, well, you know, 5, 6. And that means overall have a lot more mobile elements across the board here. Sturmpass mindset off there. Push back. Academy a bit exposed. T-Sim not knocked up. We got artillery raining down here on the positions. Darkcrow in this case a bit desperate, I think. Trying to sort of storm me from advancing. In this case, just calling in the artillery as sort of blocking fire or spare fire, which is certainly a valid tactic, but certainly indicates here that Darkcrow is getting overwhelmed. And so you also see there's a sort of another element here to a strategy again, to extend also a lot of the Overcommand strategies, again, the meta ones in quotation marks. They tend to be very defensive within a faction that's, you know, again designed to be aggressive to an extent. And while in some ways it can be played defensively very well, it also struggles in some interesting ways if it's played too defensively. Again, as you might notice, I'm just now pressuring a lot more than he's probably used to. And the large numbers of men I've got here certainly, you know, do benefit me. Cover immediately shattered there by a 76.2mm shell. Concept versus Fultz goes out in the open. Not really taking any damage from it. And that's certainly one of my issues here with Orbital Command versus veterans here, particularly some of the Fultz guns. Again, they just gain too much received accuracy. And again, I do not think you should get too much received accuracy on anything unless I'm really expensive elite units. And Fultz Grenadiers are not expensive elite infantry units. They're quite the opposite. So really, they should not be getting so much stuff there. Again, they can stand out in the open and not exactly take a lot of damage. I mean, anything that sort of encourages troops to stand out in the open should be discouraged. That's really one thing I think needs to be overhauled as well with a future balance patch. Beyond Fultz there, we got the T-Sim moving in there. Veteran 2, close to Veteran 3. Ostman moving in here. Some heavy engagements there. Conscript engineers moving in as well here. Got to get the HM6 in support as well. We got the Kedmas crawling forwards there for him, and we got rapid conscription again. The more rapid conscription works, even more rapid conscription will be even better. And there go T-7, or infantry coming fire there from like Kedden effort, moving this T-7 too far ahead. Gains veteran 3, but it's going to be right in front of like Kedden. There we go, good hit. Constantly pushing in, more fighting in the west as well. A lot of engagements left and right. We got constantly pushing forward into the line of fire of the Austrian Flak Panzer, which again, by the way, it's moving about a lot, which makes it a lot less effective. Remember, 50% decrease in accuracy if it's moving about all the bloody time. And really what he's doing there is just making, you know, it's safe for me to have my infantry about the Ostwind. Troops are healing, reinforcing. And there we go, double H6 barrage here on the MG34. Heavy barrages there. And there we go, wiped. And he then proceeds to call in an artillery strike to prevent me from getting the MG34. Again, more spare fire here. Again, I like the idea. Again, it's definitely one of the ways you can use artillery. It's just very rarely utilised like this. But there we go. That is twice he's called in artillery just to prevent me from going somewhere. And again, he's expended then 360 munitions to prevent me from going somewhere. I mean, that's pretty good for me, though. I mean, sure, it sort of prevents me from doing some things, but I sort of consider, you know, you could use those 360 stuff to actually kill something. I'm pretty happy with that sort of mathematics. Doubling like Kedden, creeping ahead. They really love camouflage movements. Certainly also something I'm slightly tired of seeing. There you go, got one of the F-6s there. Good work for him. Constantly pushing forward here again. Rapid conscription just allows me to get more infantry. And I believe there it's 7 conscripts. Almost 8 there. But overall, as you might also be noticing by now, I've sort of got more stable map control here versus Darkcrow. Much more stable map control. Again, a lot of the infantry, of course, does help a lot. But again, there's also another factor in forward here, and again, it's Darkcrow's, you know, passiveness. I mean, he's clearly at this point playing for a King Tiger, and that's just giving me a lot more freedom of movement, and obviously, it's pretty much handing me the initiative, and initiative is good. It means you're the one making the decisions, calling the shots, whereas again, he's just sort of passively reacting, and generally, you don't want to be the one reacting. That's always a bad long-term goal, because also it means you're more likely to make mistakes, because, oh right, you know, make the wrong guess. Solidify there again from the F-6, getting into 1 here against the MG34. Almost wiped it like Kedden as they're being carded forwards again. And of course, in this case, I just get more infantry. In this case, the T-70 boy got abandoned, which was rather lucky for me, to be honest. Rather lucky. No denying that. Grenade assault here against all the comps they hold up behind the remaining wall here by the centre. And a big infantry push into these. We got an MG34 here guarding it, though. Quite nicely there by Darkcrow. 3rd SS, and that was a mine that went off there, slightly stalling the assault. They almost got the full gun wiped up by full gundies. Western point they're being secured, and just so much back and forth now here. But mostly just me charging forwards, trying to figure out what he's doing, and then being pushed back. I mean, essentially, it's, you know, the Soviet way of reconnaissance, which was to attack a position, then figure out where the enemy shot from, and then, you know, launch a second assault that reacted to that, roughly. Got the M6 moving up. We got a flare trip mine going off here, certainly alerting me to the fact he's moving through there and what he's moving up through there. Because they're spotting ahead again. With rapid conscription, I'm not too concerned with minor casualties of a conscript squad, you know. They died heroes. It was a sacrifice I was more than willing to make. I'm a hero too. So we're up there at about, well, 8 conscript squads now, plus a penal trooper squad, meaning I've got all in all 9 infantry squads again, versus a player who's still stuck with 4. Even his infantry is considerably more elite, the way he's handling it, which again is very passively for the most part. I mean, just means again I just got a huge advantage because my infantry will just be everywhere his elite infantry isn't. I mean, that rather works out for me nice. And there go the T-Swings back in action. He's striking at isolated targets, in this case the MG34. Engagement in the centre, harassment here being pushed back in the west, while also harassing in the west further there. And following up on the T-70, more infantry pushing in here, grabbing fuel and victory points away here from Darkcrow again. All of a sudden, Darkcrow is just slowly being crushed here under the sheer pressure of the Soviet army. Also taken up here with a mechanized armor company. At this point, it's pretty clear he's not bothering with medium armor again. He's really just sticking to that, you know, most inflexible plans, which is the King Tiger plan. And obviously at that point as well, if he's really sticking to that, and he again plays very much by the meta, means he's also going to be terrible at using the King Tiger, so that's another advantage for me. MD-34 with the advancing conscripts, pushing them back. But again, as you might notice, the amount of safe territory he essentially has is just shrinking, as again he's just being pushed more to the defensive because he went there willingly. Plus, I mean, his rear panzer corps again defending the cut-off point, but isn't defending the victory point or the fuel point, so well, he's by now a fat victory point. See, that might not last for much longer. That might not last for too much longer. The anti-tank rifle here and the penal troops end up being quite a waste there, but initially as it looks, I was a bit worried and rather felt like I might need it, but in this case it didn't have much of an impact, so that honestly was a waste there by me. Troops are healing, reinforcing. Should also consider an H-85 tank destroyer to help deal with the Austrian a bit more. He's actually got 23 kills on it now. Veteran 2, that's pretty good there, that's pretty good. He's doing something a bit more for him, and there goes H-85 tank destroyer here, sent in from a nearby tank destroyer battalion to support the 341st Rifle Division in its defense against the fascists. Under the command of Darkcrow here, salvaging the looks. T-70 action at the MD-34 here. Troops reinforcing, healing. Austrian strike towards us against the countries there. Though again, he just keeps moving, which again decreases the accuracy of it markedly, and again just makes it not that effective. But there you go. Darkcrow caught in the King Tiger, the Königstiger, the Tiger 1B. Well, Tiger 2B, but you know, like H-85 out here for Mr. ImperialDane. There goes, striking the conscripts, and 24 kill again. The way he keeps moving just really limits the utility of the Austrian, and that's also just indicates well they're going to just follow the meta too much without really thinking about it. They tend not to be that good at using the Austrian because again they don't understand how the Austrian actually works. Big push into the east again, a lot of conscripts again. I can just use my infantry a lot more freely. Even if there's a King Tiger attacking my west flank, you know, I'm just shoving a lot of conscripts towards the east. I don't particularly care. They're going to die anyways. At least they can die, you know, furthering my victory. King Tiger taking hits from the tank destroyer and the assault gun. Shot bouncing. And immediately, by the way, breaks off. He's only taking one penetrating hit there. He's actually got me, you know, with my back towards the wall. Instead, he immediately breaks off. Conscripts here being engaged by the Austrian, but I'm still grabbing the points again. I've got so many conscripts. Again, just a few dying. Again, grab the conscription as well. I don't particularly care about the survival. It is secondary for me compared to just actually winning the fight here. I've got Stalin breathing down my neck, and it turns out his breath smells horrible. Stinks of gulags and vodka. Anyway, troops there reinforcing, healing. H-85 tanks was like, oh, shotgun moving about here. The Kim has been moved towards the centre there, and again still got the eastern fuel point. I've got the victory point there, and the neutral teams grab the west. I can just now launch a big fat counterattack to reclaim that. He's also grabbing the centre here with the Raketenwerfers. Using both there, by the way. Needs to be careful over the tank destroyer. King Tiger being repaired up for its astounding damage. MD-34 dealing with incendiary planting on the conscript there. Grabbing the point, and we got an assault gun barrage there on it. Flare goes off, rather unfortunately there. And the Austrians just standing about, not doing much there for Darkcrow. Troops reinforcing, healing again, pushing forward here. Conscript there hit with an incendiary grenade. Artillery fire here having no real impact, but at least got the cover there. And the T-70s need repairs as well. By the way, having this many conscripts by now, again, I'm now 3, 6, 9 conscripts plus the penal troops, actually putting a lot of strain on me. I mean, I'm struggling to handle that much infantry, which again is why I'm just launching sort of lobs at them here and there. Again, it's just sort of increasingly less tactical and just more operational level play. You know, the level between tactics and strategic, we're sort of trying to merge the two. I'm just sort of just get moving, seize as much as you can for the glory of the motherland. King Tiger advanced range to the SU-5 Nation 6, and again, just not how he's playing it. He's playing it very, very conservatively. Again, you'd think he was playing with a Panzer IV. Not with the King Tiger. I mean, shots bounced off it, yet he still pulls back. He does not try to push against me. I'm actually in a rather weak position, yet the way he's handling his King Tiger is giving my tank destroyers and light tanks a lot more, you know, leeway. Plus, of course, my hordes of conscripts. I'm actually at 10 conscripts now, by the way. 10. There we go, T-Sim flanking in the isolated MG34 on the west. Panicking for landing it there. Well, of course, again, I'm just launching a huge assault in the center. Almost got the Osman there. Artillery raining down. H-85, H-6 shooting at it. He's trying to blitz away, but with the damage thing, it's not quite working out there. Veteran T almost 32 kills. H-5 too slow. H-6 also too slow here. Some muck-ups happening there, and I don't get the Osman. Rather bitterly there. Mine's going down the eastern viewpoint there. But again, I've got a ton of infantry. Pushing ahead the King Tiger again here for the fatherland, Germany. Not entirely sure what he's doing there. Oh, it's because the Volksgrid is stuck. I think he's going to try and free them here. It still doesn't work though. And that, of course, is a good rule of thumb here. Don't place your battle group headquarters too close to other things. Don't. So many times you get something stuck there. You just don't place it right next to something. Just don't. T-Sim flanking in the east again. MG34 though secured by some of my conscripts setting up to defend the western viewpoint, so he can't harass me there constantly. King Tiger almost got the T-Sim light tank here. Conscripts pushing ahead again. There's a King Tiger. The conscripts, I don't feel particularly worried about them. Again, their survival is mostly secondary. In this case, I do retreat them because I do feel silly just feeding the experience at this point. But you know, I mean, if we were to lose them, it wouldn't, keep me up at night. Let's just put it like that. Push towards the west there. I'm infantry guy in the center alongside my assault gunner tank destroyers. A lot of conscripts working on repairing the T-70 again. With all these conscripts, I can quickly fix my T-70 light tanks. And here we go, troops being suppressed by the MG34 there, set up behind a nice tombstone. Look, Sergey, this tombstone has your name on it. It's not funny, Boris. It's not funny. Pushing ahead here, T-70 counter-attacking. Folks being suppressed by the MG34, making them easy targets for the T-70, and there you go, quick retreat. But where did you retreat the MG34 now knowing there's a T-70 on the flank? And there you go, Darkcrow going for the Yak Panther support as King Tiger. Not a bad idea. Meanwhile, big infantry push down east here again. Rather banking on his King Tiger, he can't kill them all fast enough. While at the same time using this as a diversion to hit the MG34 in the west here with my T-70 and wiping that one. Which, by the way, largely succeeds here. Also push for the centre because again I know he can't be everywhere. Osman there getting actually free taking hits from the PTSs. We got tanks for assault gun to support the eastern push here. He immediately pulls back the King Tiger again. He's really scared of using his King Tiger. It's kind of worrying again for something again. It's just sticking so much to the meta. Just doing everything very much by it and going for the King Tiger like almost straight away again. He just said I'm falling into the same trap so many other players do, which is he's just absolutely terrifying at using it. In this case, actually exposed in the rear because he's so afraid of using it, which allows him to just get more damage done on it than able to go down from the front easily. So there you go, King Tiger down to less than half health in a matter of moments. Thoughts they're getting blasted as they get stuck there, destroying his battle group headquarters. And there you go, wipes the entire Volksgrenadier squad. Gaining virtually 2 there on my H-85 tank. So Yak Panther moves ahead here. Conscripts again, getting rapid conscription popped on them, and I'm like 3, 6, 9, 11 conscripts. So many conscripts. I don't know what to do with them except get them killed. Folks there for Academy for Yak Panther pushing ahead here. Replacement folks there for Darkcrow. He's also gone for Jaegers now. He's actually now getting more infantry, which is good. It's just a bit too late. It's just a bit too late. Assault gun there laying down covering fire there against the advancing Germans. And so I'm sort of break them up. Or blocking fire more specifically. Artillery called in on my own position. Academy get to go in the H-55. Both moves ahead here. Still down in the centre. Still down in the west. T-70 supporting here as well. Should grab the MG-34 as well. Constantly pushing ahead despite the artillery. Others taking losses to the artillery. And of course, I've still got points down here as well. Osman there, by the way, Veteran 3 halfway to Veteran 4. Yak Panther there getting shot at, but it's not really having much of an impact. So 3, 6, 3, 6, yes. 9, 12 conscript squads now. I'm at 12 conscript squads, which if they were all at full strength, would be about 72 men. That's a lot of infantry, at least a lot of potential infantry. There's also, of course, a big fat manpower drain associated with it. Grabbing the MG34, Fox is moving ahead here, under fire from the T-70, getting ready to grenade on the MG34. But nonetheless, it is made off with there. It is made off with. And I've actually got the victory point lead over here, Darkcrow. And I'm making ready for a big push towards the west. As you might notice, I'm shifting a lot of infantry towards the west. I've also got my assault gun and tank destroyer ready. But of course, also considering another tank destroyer down the road. Ostman charging forth there like a blitz. Though again, he keeps moving it, which again decreases accuracy. There you go, the stops up right in the front of the assault guns and tank destroyers. Definitely not the best move there by Darkcrow. Almost gets it knocked out there. Kenneth moving up on assault guns and T-70s. King Jack Panther moving ahead, Contra pushing up against the Kenneth there. More Contra pushing ahead. Ostman Caprani coming, firing out, and again, immediately proceeds to move it. King Tiger moving open up the Contra up close, get some good hits in. Assault gun tank destroyer moving in here. Contra Penal Troops pulling back. King Tiger there taking shots, but none of them penetrate. Another shot there penetrating. Another shot, there we go. Oh, there we go, actually penetrating, not penetrating. Anyways. And almost getting wiped on the left side as well. Darkcrow under severe pressure. And again, that's just about having all of these big tanks, Osprins and Yak Panzers. Again, all the stuff the meta says is good, but you know, isn't good unless you actually use it actively. Again, they're not very good defensive tools as such, unless you got them under the very right conditions. And Darkcrow, I don't think has really got those. Got a lot of consuming down there. Have I got any more? I'm actually losing. No, I haven't. It's actually difficult to keep track of them. And ultimately, inverting into half the time, kind of blowing up there before I just spread them out. It's basically just large march columns to sort of get them anywhere, and then sort of split them up and sort of route to the attack zone. Well, I expect things to get, all shooty bang bang. King Tiger up the advancing conscripts, but again, they're just a distraction to allow the other conscripts to get past the King Tiger. He's got booby traps down there, boy, that's good. Troops that push back from the west. In the east again, just a lot of fire being rained down there in the Russian infantry. Tank Social 6 slightly creeping up there. Boob trap goes off there. Murdering a lot of conscripts. Just a huge explosion. Sending bits of bodies. Gregorian, Dimitri all over the place. Tank destroyer and assault guns there firing away. Yak Panther half health there, but so are the Issue 5s. And again, he's not occupied with this. Again, he's just preoccupied with my big assault here, which was essentially also diversion to draw attention from this. So, I mean, basically, for all this infantry, all I'm using it for is just sort of bigger, again, operational level movements. So just diversions, attacks, feints, just trying to just keep him guessing and unsure where I'm actually attacking, just overloading him because I've got so many pieces, I can just throw them at him constantly. And again, he has to react to them. He has to react to them. And with all the smaller pieces, I then hide my big pieces between the small pieces and sort of just make some good, bigger plays for that. But yeah. A lot of things are dying, to put it mildly. A lot of things are dying and they're primarily mine, but I'm actually winning despite all of that. And there we go, calling in another tank destroyer. Another HUD-5. King Tiger moving up here. Veterans 1, 18 kills. Conscripts wiped. "53 kills in the Ostwind, 53 kills, and the worst part is it hasn't exactly, helped him win the game." I mean, that's the worst part. He's killed so much, and it doesn't matter because again, Darkcrow's strategy is ultimately flawed. Again, it's too defensive, too passive. It has no real goals except, somehow get the King Tiger, and then somehow that becomes victory, but there's no real sort of clear method of making it into a victory. Second Issue 5 tanks are there arriving. Now the 341st Rifle Division has a lot more anti-tank support here, which will definitely threaten the King Tiger, Yak Panzer, and certainly the Ostwind a lot more. Large engagement, got the Ostwind up on the T-70. King Tiger moving towards the centre, clearing out some of the terrain, slowly moving ahead here with the Ostwinds and the likes. He's pushing up the east side though. But no, well, he never really tries to flank me. He never sort of tries to get behind me and cause confusion. I mean, if he were to do that, he could probably then launch a good assault from the front. But again, there's never really that element of, you know, tactical fidelity there from Darkcrow. There you go, attack, pushing up, they're drawing a tank. There you go. Takes in a lot of hits there from Yak on Yak Panzer. Oh no, but I got a Kednefer from him at some point. Yak Panzer goes down now, leaving him only with the King Tie against a lot of tank destroyers, assault guns, and I Kednefer. Including one Betty 2, almost Betty 3 there. And there you go, King Tiger now down to less than half health. It is getting absolutely hammered here, wailed on by numerous sources of heavy anti-tank fire. The King Tiger's almost down already. It's close to Betty 2, using tracking here by the way. Shots bouncing off it, but it's not going to last for much longer. And there we go. Shot knocked it out here, leaving him with pretty much nothing left. He's going for another Yak Punch, but at this point it's not going to help much. And there we go. Darkcrow surrenders, or possibly just runs off. And either way, we end up with a GG here. A brutal war of attrition, which ultimately saw me losing almost 300 men, by the way. 300. Quite a few there. And again, only called 142. I mean, in a sense, this is sort of very historically accurate representative of sort of how fighting went on the Eastern Front. You know, Russia took a lot more heavy losses, but some, you know, pushed through because of the overall. Because again, while he might occasionally won the occasional tactical engagement, the problem was strategically I just sort of hit him everywhere else, so it didn't really matter with his tactical wins because he was losing territory elsewhere. Because again, he was just too passive to react. In this case, again, going for the King Tiger result again, he didn't have enough flexibility to actually react to my attacks and then push back. So again, sort of very much a representation of the Eastern Front. He had really big tanks, but they couldn't help him hold the front, so he just pushed further and further back until I just sort of gathered enough force to actually completely destroy him. So, you know, certainly one way of dealing with the overall commanders, in particular, again, the ones who play by the metagame. And again, this is also one very careful about just saying, you know, play by the metagame. Understand the metagame, but don't just play by it, because it means overall you end up playing poorly because you don't actually understand why you do the things you do, which means you can't react if things change. You know, you can't make alterations to the plans. And that's basically what happened here. Again, he just went for the King Tiger, not understanding why. He didn't understand why it's a bad choice to go for the King Tiger at your times you can do it. And so again, I just, you know, just ground him down again. The King Tiger actually didn't matter too much to me because he just used it too passively, which again is another mistake a lot of Overall Commanders players do. So, you know that, and plus, of course, just again, it also just allowed me to just throw hordes of conscripts at him because again, I have to worry about just being pushed back aggressively. It didn't matter. So, you know, again, I could just sort of swarm in and hit him time and time again and just slowly but surely push him back and win the game through that. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. Hope it gives you different matches, some tactics, some strategies, and some, of course, operational level moves. If it has, you know, subscribe, like, share, and comment on it. This is ImperialDane signing off, and hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Cheers.